The untold story of Canadian women in World War II. When World War II erupted, the world changed forever for Canada. It was a time of sacrifice, resilience, and duty. But while stories of soldiers on the front lines dominate the history books, one chapter often goes untold: the story of the Canadian women who transformed the nation and helped shape victory. When World War II erupted, the world changed forever for Canada. It was a time of sacrifice, resilience, and duty. But while stories of soldiers on the front lines dominate the history books, one chapter often goes untold: the story of the Canadian women who transformed the nation and helped shape victory. As men shipped off to fight overseas, a call echoed across Canada, one for women to step forward to serve, to fill the void left behind. And they answered. More than 1 million Canadian women entered the workforce during the war, taking on roles once deemed unimaginable for their gender. From building bombers in Montreal to manufacturing munitions in Toronto, women became the backbone of Canada's wartime industry. They were known as Rosie the Riveters, a name that echoed across borders. But each had her own story. Service didn't stop at the factory gates. Over 50,000 women joined the Canadian Armed Forces, becoming nurses, clerks, mechanics, and operators for the first time in Canadian history. Women were allowed into the military in non-combat roles. Their uniforms bore the same maple leaf as their male counterparts. They decoded enemy messages, delivered supplies to troops, and tended to the wounded under fire. These women didn't carry rifles, but they carried courage. Canadian military nurses, often called sisters, served close to the front lines. Over 4,000 joined the Royal Canadian Army Medical Corps. They faced bombings, worked without rest, and saved countless lives. In 1945, 4 Canadian nurses were killed in the line of duty. There was no time to think. We worked through the blood, the pain, the chaos. We were just doing our duty. Back home, millions of women kept Canada running. They raised children alone, rationed food, volunteered with the Red Cross, and knitted socks for soldiers. They planted victory gardens and held their families together with strength forged in silence. When the war ended in 1945, many women were expected to return to the home, their uniforms traded for aprons. But something had changed. They had proven their capability, their courage, their right to stand shoulder to shoulder with men. They may not have been on the front lines with guns, but they had fought their own war for equality, for dignity, for a place in history. Today, the legacy of Canada's World War II women lives on in the women who serve in the Canadian Armed Forces, in the leaders, scientists, and builders. They inspired. Their wartime contributions laid the groundwork for a changing society, one where women's voices would rise louder than ever. The story of Canada in World War II is not complete without them. Their courage was quiet, their service immense, and now at last their story is being told. To the women who served, we remember, we honor, we thank you.